Great practice out there today. 14, I've been different places. 14, practice 14 the day before, or practice before the spring game. A lot of times, a practice that's low key and, maybe a couple of situational things that you're working on. Sometimes even just helmets and spiders. But our guys, we went with shells and got after it. Got after it for a couple hours. Just a full-fledged practice. Obviously not tackling and just shells, but really good work by our guys. Competitive, got a chance to switch it up a little bit. Ones versus twos, twos versus ones, and the neat thing is those twos, playing good and playing well, and wanting to prove how far they've come along, and did some nice things today in practice. So extremely competitive. Across the board. The rest of the practice was what we generally do, ones versus ones, twos versus twos, but a good day. So format for the spring game will be an offense versus defense. We won't have divided teams. A couple of reasons. Number one, I like to look at it as practice number 15. We'll see a lot of great scrimmaging out there, but it's a chance for us to get better. It's a chance for us to take a next step, a chance for us to evaluate as well. And so try to really get down to the bare bones and playing some football. It gives us a chance to really also celebrate what we're doing and where we're at, and enjoy the moment with the fans. And so excited to see a packed stadium there, and looking forward to seeing everyone come and support our program. So any questions?
We'll start here, Charlie.
Hey, Coach. What's the biggest area of growth maybe you've seen from this team from practice 1 to practice 14?
I think just the competitive stamina that we've continued to show. It's easy to come out practice 1. It's easy to come out after you get back from spring break. But for us to just continue to stay the course, and that's reminiscent of what I said early. When I first got here, the guys decided to stay, work through it, believe in this place. But they've just continued to work, and I kind of hit on that and coming in with an opening here today, just because it was just impressive to me. Nothing where we're coasting into these last 48 hours leading up to Saturday. They came out here, worked, wanted to continue to play ball, asking for one more drive and all that kind of stuff. They're just enjoying the process, enjoying the steps. So I think that competitive stamina, just continue to get better and focus on the right things there.
Chase, I see you guys.
The spring portal, of course, opens on Monday. Have you identified any areas where you might like to add some depth?
Yeah, I would say, naturally, if you guys can look at our roster and see scholarship numbers. I know you guys all track it. I'd say the defensive backfield, we're probably a guy short or so. Offensive line, probably a guy, short. And just from the numbers that you typically would see, and also, where we want to be. So, not saying we'll take a look and evaluate, and then you never know. There might be some guys that from our roster, surprise us as well. So, we just got to continue to be fluid, be ready to adjust, and continue to keep our eyes open for what's out there when that time comes.
Nick, right here in the front.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you could kind of elaborate on what's going on with Parker and what his availability might be for the game this weekend.
Yeah, right now I wouldn't plan on him being in just with the limited practice that he's had throughout the spring, and he didn't practice today, so I wouldn't be putting him out there in that spot. But he'll be with us here sooner than later. We're getting the regular workouts, and he's doing all the things to make sure he's ready to go.
Katie.
You already talked about the format of 8A changing a little bit. I saw a video where you were asked about tunnel music, and then the players earlier this week were talking about the Steak and Bean Center. Just kind of how are you balancing honoring tradition while also kind of doing things your own way?
I'm laughing because when I talk to the guys about the steak dinner, and I refer to it as what did I say, beanies and weenies. That's something that slip of the tongue, and so of course we had a good little laugh out there on the field, but. There's some traditions that the guys certainly bring up that have been important, that they feel strong about, and I'm still learning some of those things that haven't maybe come up yet. You're still learning some of those really neat things that are important to these guys because it's happened in the program for many years.
Stay over there, John.
Hi, Coach. I had two, if I could. One, what has been the buy-in like? 'Cause that seems even more important than ever with the transfer portal for a new coach. What's that been like overall for this team?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, I think you use the right word. I think buying in, because I think it's continued to be a process. Someone asked me that question, a few times, and I, said, hey, but they bought in, and I don't think I know we're not to that point yet. I like where we're at, and I like the mindset and the effort they're putting into the buying in of what we're trying to do. But this whole piece, this whole thing we're on right now, this journey, is about the process, and I really feel like they are buying in. But when you're talking about 100, close to 120 players, I'm sure there's some guys that are still trying to feel it out and trying to figure out their role, and whether it's because of the schemes we run or whatever it might be, the depth chart, trying to figure all that out. So I think I feel great about overall, just generally speaking, both sides of the ball, all phases, and the team in general. There's some leaders that have really done a great job, especially early on in January, February, of staying the course, and I think a lot of guys have just followed along. And so it's been great, the staff, getting to know the guys and really focusing on the relationships, and our players appreciating that as we teach them the game, and they learn what we want to do in all the areas of our team.
And the second one, if I could, what was the decision-making process in Washington when you had a guy who was charged with some serious crimes playing the playoffs?
Oh yeah, I mean, I released a statement. I understand there's more to it down the road, but I can't really comment on that right now, or don't have anything to add.
Come over here to Nick. Yeah, with the portal opening Monday, what is the message to your team in terms of how they approach A-Day and just practices wrapping up in the spring?
I guess anything I would say to them would be in regards to the date of the portal coming up. It would just be about us taking the next step and focusing on themselves and our team, and getting better, on Saturday. And, also enjoying everything that comes along with A-Day and the hype and the celebration, all of that.
Tony?
What qualities do you want to see in an X receiver, that X receiver position, and are you comfortable with the options you have, especially after Jalen got hurt?
Yeah, I think, all our guys are we would like for them to be very versatile. So, an X receiver, I know what we think of him as, in a lot of cases, a lot of offense, being the outside guy. For us, you'd love to have that guy who can isolate one-on-one, individual routes on the backside, maybe a 3-by-1 formation, a guy who can take the top off. That's the guy in our offense also. If he's got the skill set, he can move inside, and we can get him the slot. That's what our system allows our staff to do is move guys around, cater to their strengths, find a way to get those matchups. I think each receiver, yes, we kind of slot them into a position, and for us we call it the H, X, and Z. But there comes a point in time too where we're just gonna get them in the right spots, especially in the critical moments and the times where we gotta get certain people the ball, to convert third downs, to score in the red zone, whatever those times might be.
All right.
Hey, Coach. You spoke briefly about the players and their competitive nature. How would you assess the staff and what they've contributed to creating that competitive balance in practice and their fields and your fields going into A-Day and with their energy?
Yeah, a great question. I think there's a couple of things. They're just continue to do a great job of pushing their position groups, their side of the ball, their phase. Continue to adjust. There's a push that we want, but also there's a time when you gotta, at different points in the spring, kind of peel back, maybe a day, try to rerun or reload some plays in a practice to continue to work on them more than maybe what you anticipated. Some concepts these guys are familiar with because they ran these concepts many times before we got here, and some maybe they're just a little different or tweaked a little bit or something completely new. So, we adjust, and I think the staff's done an awesome job of balancing, putting the pedal down, building the relationships. They're super competitive. They have fun jabbing each other on each side of the ball when that time comes up. I saw it again today. I think that that competitiveness mixed with the balance of out there enjoying the moment is something that our players see, and it trickles down to them. And it's not just on the field; it's off the field. It's around the offices, meeting rooms, whenever we're together.
Two more quick ones, Matt and then Cody.
Do you still get as much as you used to out of spring football in the spring game, given how much the roster can change with the portal window?
Did you say get as much out of it?
Yeah.
Do we get as much out of? What? Say it again.
Do you get as much out of spring football as a whole with that portal window now coming right over?
Oh yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, a lot of guys still getting their reps, and our install that we kind of have. I mean, I remember Kane's install from a couple of years back, and I think he's doing very similar, maybe even more, than what I remember at that time. And so offensively, it's full steam ahead. So I think the guys have done a good job, and I don't think we really wavered, and it would definitely not be because we're thinking about anything that the portal might come into play with.
Finish with Cody.
I know you're probably paying attention to everybody, but is there a position group or two that has maybe impressed you more than others through the first 14 practices?
I think impressed would probably be kind of related to maybe where you felt like you were a little bit younger, and so impressed. There's a couple things, right? The guys, the sides of the ball, or the position groups that have the veterans, you expect them to go out there and get it done, and so really like some things that are happening up front, defensive line wise, but I also think that defensive back wise, there's some young guys that have just grown, so I'm impressed with some individual play, considering how old and how young they are, and I think the running backs, we got some strong running backs in there that just are really steady, and then on offense, kind of picking two on each side. I mean, the quarterback. I mean, just the number of quarterbacks that we have that you would feel comfortable putting out in a football game. I mean, really all four of them. And they are extremely solid, doing a great job with their accuracy, their reads, competitiveness. I mean, just picking things up each and every day. That group has done a really good job from I don't want to even say top to bottom, just across the board.
All right, Coach. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Roll Tide.